I think it's garbage because at some point we all bought into this lie that you got to feel ready in order to change.
Yeah.
We bought into this complete falsehood that at some point you're going to have the courage. At some point you're going to have the confidence, and it's total bullshit, frankly. Are we allowed to swear on this show?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's complete garbage, and so there are so many people in the world, and you know, you may be watching this right now, and you have these incredible ideas, and what you think is missing is motivation, and that's not true, because the way that our minds are wired, and the fact about human beings is that we are not designed to do things that are uncomfortable or scary or difficult. Our brains are designed to protect us from those things because our brains are trying to keep us alive. And in order to change, in order to build a business, in order to be the best parent, the best spouse, to do all those things that you know you want to do with your life, with your work, with your dreams, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary, which sets up this problem for all of us. You're never going to feel like it. Motivation's garbage. You only feel motivated to do the things that are easy, right?
Why do you think that is?
Oh, I know exactly why that is. Because I've studied this so much, because for me, one of the hardest things to figure out was, why is it so hard to do the little things that would improve my life? And what I've come to realize, and what we'll talk a lot about today, is that the way that our minds are designed is our minds are designed to stop you at all costs from doing anything that might hurt you. And the way that this all happens is it all starts with something super subtle that none of us ever catch. And that is with this habit that all of us have that nobody's talking about. We all have a habit of hesitating. We have an idea. You're sitting in a meeting. You have this incredible idea. And instead of just, saying it, you stop and you hesitate. Now, what none of us realize is that when you hesitate, just that moment, that micro moment, that small hesitation, it sends a stress signal to your brain. It wakes your brain up, and your brain all of a sudden goes, oh, wait a minute. Why is he hesitating? He didn't hesitate when he put on his killer spiky sneakers. He didn't hesitate with the really cool track pants. He didn't hesitate with the NASA t-shirt. Now he's hesitating to talk. Something must be up. So then your brain goes to work to protect you. It has a million different ways to protect you. One of them is called the spotlight effect. It's a known phenomenon where your brain magnifies risk. Why? To pull you away from something that it perceives to be a problem. And so you can truly trace every single problem or complaint in your life to silence and hesitation. Those are decisions. And what I do, and what's changed my life, is waking up and realizing that motivation's garbage. I'm never going to feel like doing the things that are tough or difficult or uncertain or scary or new. So I need to stop waiting until I feel like it. And number two, I am one decision away from a totally different marriage, a totally different life, a totally different job, a totally different income, a totally different relationship with my kids. Not like one decision, I'm divorcing you in the marriage example, but one decision on, you could be having a conversation with your spouse and you feel your emotions rise up, and within a tiny window, those emotions can take over and can impact how your marriage goes. Or you can learn how to take control of that micro moment and make a decision to act in a way that actually shifts your marriage. Right. Your life comes down to your decisions. And if you change your decisions, you will change everything. And so I cannot wait to bring on fitness coach Peter, who is losing his motivation over in Ireland. So let's see what he has to say right now.
Hello there, Mel, team, and the phenomenal community. I'll stay connected. My name is Peter, and I'm dialing in from the Republic of Ireland. And I've got this question based on today's live stream topic, positivity. I'm a fitness coach, and I feel like I've been inspiring, motivating, teaching how to deal with different obstacles, my clients, my family. But on most days, especially now, I am feeling I'm losing the ground under my own feet, and I'm struggling with finding that constant flow of positivity. So my question is, how can I find that balance within my own? So thanks very much for everything you do. Stay blessed, stay well. Thank you again.
All right. So there were a couple things about the question. First of all, Peter, thank you so much for sending your question all the way from Ireland. And you said a couple things that jumped out of you. You are losing the ground underneath you, and you are seeking advice about how to stay motivated consistently. So here's what I want to do. I want to put this in the language that you as a fitness coach will certainly appreciate, but you watching, this is for you too. You're training for this moment. And Peter in particular, somebody who has been motivating people, who has been training people to be physically fit. You have been training for this moment your entire life. And you got to view this moment like a test. And what is the test testing? It's testing who you are. That's part of the race right now, how you show up for it, right? It's not a matter of how you finish it. It's how you show up for it and what you do while you're running it, the kind of racer that you are. And look, I get it. This is a very difficult race that we're all running because we don't know where the finish line is. And it is very, very hard to stay motivated, which is the advice that you're seeking, Peter, when you don't even know when this damn thing is ending. This is the part of the race. I've run 4 marathons. Don't everybody gasp. I mean, it was nothing to brag about. I mean, I finished them, which is something to brag about, but it's not like I won the damn thing. But this is the point in time when you're running a race, when you said you're losing ground. What that means is you're starting to slow down. You feel your legs getting heavier. You feel your breath getting a little bit more shallow. You start to wonder, oh shit, why did I sign up for this thing in the first place? You start to wonder if you are going to make it. And so here's what I'm going to tell you, Peter. When you are coaching your clients and your clients start to lose ground, when you are coaching your clients and your clients don't feel motivated and they feel tired and they feel like giving up and they don't want to do another set of burpees, what do you tell them? You tell them to dig deeper. You tell them to find the strength within them to keep going. You see, what you need right now is you need to start building the motivation of your mind, because motivation doesn't exist in your body. It comes from up here. And what I hear is that you now have an opportunity. This is what the test is, Peter, to train harder because you are capable of so much more. This is handing you a moment where you get to become an even stronger and more capable version of yourself. Now, does that mean that you're going to be motivated all day long, every single day that you wake up? No. But it means you've got to have the mental fitness right now to continue to get up, to show up, and to dig deeper when it comes to your mindset, when it comes to your attitude, when it comes to your just knowing that you are going to get through this. And so this moment, everybody, it's telling you who you are. It's telling you whether or not you're the kind of person that shows up to a challenge and you're pissed off, or you're sad, or you feel depressed, or you feel despair, or you feel all of these things that start to take you down the drain of negativity. And what I'm here to tell you is that you are built for this moment. You may not feel like it. You may feel sad. Those are all normal feelings. You may feel negative. It's very easy to do. You may start to feel a little bit of despair. That's going to come and go. But this is where the test of this race that we're currently running lies. When those feelings rise up and you start losing ground and you start feeling like you're not going to make it to the finish line and you start feeling unmotivated, can you dig deeper and remind yourself that you were built for this moment? Because one of the things that I know is that when the shit is hitting the fan, I guarantee you there are people in your life that are looking to you. There are people in your life, whether it's clients or colleagues or family members, that are looking to you right now. You know what that tells me? That you're the kind of person that people rely on. And now is the moment in time in the race that we're all running where you got to teach yourself to rely on yourself. How do you do that? How do you build the muscle of the mind? It's very simple. Very simple. I didn't say easy. I said simple. The steps are very simple. To win this race and to build strength in this muscle right up here, you got to focus on the shit you can control. And that is what you do with your body and what you do with your mind. And the one thing that has made a huge difference in me, because you can see that I am showing up as a very different Mel Robbins than I've been the last couple of weeks. The last couple of weeks, I have been losing the race. I've been going up and down. I've been doing my best to stay positive, but I am now back in the race. I have now found my ground and found my footing. And it comes in focusing on what you can control. And you know what you can control? There's only one thing. It's what are you doing to make this day the best day that you can do? What are you doing to master this day today? Fuck tomorrow. Forget about next week. Forget about what's happening this summer. This is a race that will be won by those of you who are the ability to focus on today and making today amazing. And so you know what I did today? Today, I did something I haven't done since the beginning of this quarantine. I got up an hour earlier than I normally do. Why? Well, because I noticed that throughout my day, I was feeling behind. Throughout my day, even though I was waking up, even though I have a morning routine, even though I was getting stuff done, I felt, even though I was doing all those things, somehow behind. And I realized that in order to master my day, in order to be fully in control of what I'm going to do today, I got to make sure that when my ass hits this chair at 9 a.m. and my workday starts, I have fully taken control of everything that puts my body and my mind first. And when I was honest with myself about why I was losing ground and why I wasn't feeling motivated and why I was starting to feel my own energy cycle down, it was because I was not taking the time in the morning to give myself the mental prep and training and the physical prep and training so that I could make this day, today, April 14th, with everything that I got. And so that's what you need to do. And that's what, Peter, you need to do too over there in Ireland. You need to remind yourself of who you are. You are a person who has been training for this moment your entire life. This is a race where you do not see the finish line, which means you have got to focus on today. You have got to focus on what you can control. And the only thing we can control is what our body is doing today and what we allow our minds to focus on. So the second your mind starts to go down that drain of, oh my God, what's going to happen? And this fall, and when's it going to end? And blah, 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 do. And you feel yourself losing motivation and losing ground. We are done mourning this situation. We are done feeling sad about this situation. How about we give ourselves a collective bitch slap? We dig a little bit deeper and we show up for this situation. What else are you going to do? Feel sorry for yourself, lick your wounds? It's so much better when you decide to dig deep and you decide to show up. That's what I'm going to do. Some days it's going to be harder than others, but that's the whole point of getting stronger. Reminding yourself that you are capable of so much more. And all of the emotions that you're feeling and all of the excuses that you're feeling, it's all normal, but it's a choice as to whether or not you listen to them. So, Peter, keep me posted on how you're doing. And for you watching this, I hope that this gives you the kick in the ass that you need to shake that negativity loose and to rise to this moment and start working on the things that you can control, your mind and your body. And in case nobody else tells you today, I'm going to tell you, I love you. I believe in you. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how sad you are. I don't care how overwhelmed you are. Get your shit together, because this is the new reality. And you can make today a better day by focusing on what you can control. And I'm going to be here every day, annoying, as positive as I can be, to push you to remember that. And if you're wondering, how the hell do I get on this and get this motivation from Mel and ask her a question and get the tough love that I need and seize the opportunity in this moment, just text your question. See the phone number below? That is our texting community. Get yourself on it. Ask a question. When you text it, there will be something that comes back to you. You got to reply in order to opt in. Ask the question. That way my team can reach out to you. You could find yourself on a future video. How about that? All right. You go have a great day and dig a little deeper today.
So what do you mean when you said the answer really is already in you right now?
Of course it is. Like if I were to ask you, Peter, hey, Peter, I was bankrupt and I was fighting with my husband all the time and drinking too much. How could I change my life? What would you tell me to do?
Yeah.
Say, look for a job, Mel. Stop being a bitch to Chris. And you might want to consider sobering up. The answers are easy. It's the actions that are hard. Instead of being addicted to information, which to me is a form of self-doubt. Mm-hmm. If you need a credential because legally you can't own a nail salon without the license, get the credential. If you're getting a credential because you're scared shitless about selling yourself, it's time to start selling. Because the credential is not going to solve the self-doubt. The only thing that solves self-doubt is action. It's really that simple. And the other thing that we fixate on is you fixate on the big stuff. You got to start with the little stuff. You know, they did this massive research project at the Harvard Business School where they basically asked what makes people feel satisfied or successful with their work. And after this monster study, they came down to one factor. Are you making progress every day on something that's important to you? You see, a mistake that we make is that we wait to feel ready to do something. So we have all this pent up energy and then we make a burst and we make 10 phone calls. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like motivated. This is freaking amazing. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoo, I'm done. Oh, and then you don't do it for a week. You are so much better off making one important phone call a day. So much better off because you're seeing yourself make progress on something every single day. And you're also not relying on these bouts of feeling motivated, which come and go like the breeze.
How do I avoid busy action and only apply that to the right actions? She's just not sure what actions to take. And I'm sure you've been there as I have. What do you tell her?
Well, so first of all, I think any action that you take is a good one, even if it's busy, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get moving, stop thinking, do what you need to do. When you notice that you're just focused on the busy stuff, and your wisdom, your instincts are telling you you're avoiding the big thing, that's a moment of power. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go focus on the big thing. The other thing that's going to help her is if every morning you, in those 20 minutes that you find for yourself before you look at the phone and you plan your day, come up with your priority for the day that matters to you, like some project you're working on, something related to your business, and then identify the one thing that you're going to do that scares you today to drive the business forward. That's it. If you were to just do one thing a day that's outside your comfort zone with your business, you'll be shocked at where your business is 6 months from now. Just one. I'm not asking for big shit here. I'm asking for one thing. And do it even though you don't feel like it.
So you didn't always know exactly what action to take. You were just taking action and adapting and adjusting along the way.
No, I feel like there are some people in life that I think are like gifted with OCD or like on the spectrum Aspergery that are super like focused and they know exactly what they want and they can just march right towards it and that's how they go. I'm not like that. I have to stumble into things. So what happens for me is my instincts tell me something. And then I go and take action to do it. And then as I'm doing it, I gather all this data that tells me I hate, oh, what the heck? Hold on, this is CNN. We got to decline that. Tell them goodbye. Data that informs me. I'm going to give you an example, okay? So I had tremendous success in the speaking business. I went from zero, never had been paid for a speech, to literally the most booked woman in the world in 3 years flat.
Crazy.
And there's a number of reasons why. Number one, the content's terrific. I'm also a really good public speaker. There's not a lot of women on the circuit, but more importantly, I behave in a way because I know that the number one asset in business is make the people you're dealing with know that they matter. Take care of everybody you deal with, everybody. The event planners, the speaking bureaus, everybody has something that they're worried about. You get rid of the worry, you make them feel like they're important. Everybody wants to be around you because at the end of the day, we all want to know that we matter. So if you do business with people that make you feel good, you want to do more business with them. And so it's a really, really simple thing. I call it, my philosophy about human beings is just be a fan. Just cheer for everybody. There's so much success to go around. People have really difficult lives. They make things really hard for themselves. Make their life easy. Make them feel great. Give them a hug, smile, compliment them. Be generous. Don't be a pain in the ass. Like literally, it's that simple. So I explode. Now here's the thing. I thought when I started the speaking business that it would be really amazing to just for the rest of my life be a speaker. Here's what I discovered. There are so many aspects of running a speaking business at this level that deplete the hell out of me. I hate being alone. I hate traveling that much. I really don't like the fact that when I get off the stage, I don't have contact with the audience anymore. What energizes me is conversations like this. What energizes me is hearing from people, connecting with them, the ongoing stuff. And so a year ago, I made a decision, I got to shift the business. Now, it's already a really successful business, and you watching this, your business may be wildly successful too. Let me ask you a question. What aspects of your business energize you? And what aspects deplete you? There's an enormous business opportunity for you right now to simply align your business with the things that energize you more. So for me, that meant, how do I take this significant revenue and duplicate it, but not get on a plane? How do I reach people with these ideas and inspire them without having to be away from my family? How do I have an ongoing connection? Because those are the things that energize me. And so I made a huge pivot. We cut the number of speeches in half and we launched an online course business. We are now in the audio products business. And so that, because it energizes me, because I have an ongoing connection with people. Other than talking to you, which is fucking awesome, hearing from everybody, what they got out of this, seeing your photographs of you with the phone and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then getting the post that you actually closed a big deal. That is so cool because I see that you're changing. That is what is amazing. Now, here's the other thing, guys. 5 years from now, it may deplete the hell out of me to do online courses. Something else, live events, might energize me. So I will make that pivot. So when I said in the very beginning, Peter, there's only one you, and you've got this whole casserole of experiences and interesting wisdom, that depleted versus energized data is that wisdom. Use it to your advantage in business. If you freaking hate selling, hire somebody to do it for you. Pay attention to what your instincts are telling you. I'm not great at managing people. I don't have the patience to explain everything, you know? I'm not great with details in terms of production management. It depletes me. So don't do it. Find a partner, get somebody so this is what I'm saying. You may be banging your head against the wall, and the reason why you haven't hit that level is because you're scared shitless to hire somebody or partner with somebody or give up this aspect of your business that takes 80% of your time, gives you 20% of your revenue, and depletes the hell out of you. Stop being stupid. Do the stuff that feels good. That's easy. That doesn't mean you won't have toilet days. That doesn't mean you don't have to do stuff like empty the trash or do the annoying things. We all have to. But align your business with the things that naturally energize you, and you will explode your income.
What do you think it is about this formatting that seems to work so well to bring people from just hearing something to actually doing it?
So, the other thing about me, Mel Robbins, is that I think talk is really cheap. And, that's kind of weird coming from a woman that talks for a living. But we are all experts at thinking about what we want. And we're all experts at trying to change on our own. And changing is a lot easier when you do it with somebody else. And you could think about what you want to do until the day that you die. But it's not until you find the courage to take action and to try that you will actually start changing your life. And so I guarantee you, every one of you, you're super smart and you know exactly what you need to be doing. I do too. One of the most amazing things about this pandemic and the kind of pause that it hit is it's really slowed me down, and it's forced me to think about what actually matters to me. You see, I bet that you have become addicted to being busy. You're used to racing all over the place. You're used to putting everybody first. You're used to pretending to be somebody at work and pretending to be somebody in your relationship and pretending to be somebody at home. And that disconnection that you feel from yourself, that is something I want you to pay attention to. It just means that you're not aligned with the person that you're meant to be and the values that you have and what you actually care about. You've gotten stuck in this trap of pleasing everybody around you, and you've got just trapped in the addiction to being busy. We all have. And so this has really created a moment in my life where I've said to myself, well, what does Mel Robbins want? Yeah. I know that Mel has been racing around for 5 years. I've been on, stages and planes 110 days a year. What do I actually want? If June rolls around and we come out of this, what do I want? And I'll tell you, it scares me. Like, I started to think, I think I actually want to do some events of my own. I think I want to do a lot more programming online. I think I want to, I start thinking about, I think I want to figure out how to do that and not become so like I'm running all the time. And so I'm in the middle of the same inquiry as you are. I'm figuring out my current life in the pandemic, but what does the future life look like? And how do I make sure that when I start creating what I want next, I don't bring all my old patterns and all my old mistakes and all the personality types that I attract that create drama for me? How do I create something new that really serves who I'm becoming? And so I invite you to think about that, because you can create anything that you want to create. Are you kidding me? The only thing that is holding you back is the garbage you tell yourself. The only thing, and I realize, and I make a real point in a lot of these pep talks and in my work to say, Jody, there may be some really heavy stuff you've dealt with in your life. You may be, have faced some serious abuse. You may have been the victim of crimes. You have maybe faced severe discrimination and bias in your life. You've maybe born into severe hardship and disadvantage. You're not responsible for any of that, but you have a responsibility for how you heal yourself and how you move forward. And that's what I'm here to help you to do, to think about what's coming next and who you want to become. And what are these patterns that have held you back forever? Patterns in your mind and patterns of behavior, just habits, not good, not bad, just stuff that you don't want to use anymore. How do you update those? And that's what we're here to help you with, because once you understand that all human beings we're all literally just a bunch of people walking around that repeat patterns that we don't realize we're repeating. And the good news about that is, if in any area of your life you don't like that area of your life, whether it's your health or it's the relationships or it's the lack of money in your bank account, I guarantee you there's a pattern from your past that is preventing you from becoming the most amazing you in the future. You find that pattern, we break that pattern, we replace it with something that the future you is doing, and boom, you change your life. This is kind of my brand of advice. It's got to be incredibly stupid on the surface.
Yeah.
It's got to be so simple, it's really implausible that it works. And once you start unpacking it, it has to have a crazy bananas amount of scientific proof and real life proof in people's lives to prove why it works. Okay. So I'll tell you the story first behind the high five habit, because I did not set out and go like, oh, okay, I've written the 5-second rule book. I need to come up with another 5. I have been toiling away with what book to write for nearly 5 years.
Yes.
So it's been 5 years since I've had a book in print. And I had this random morning where there's a lot going on in my life. I'm not going to get into it because it's a boring story, but I was just having a really hard time in my life. And I woke up, got out of bed, I made my bed like I always do. I walked into the bathroom, I'm standing there brushing my teeth, and I catch my reflection in the mirror. And my first thought is, God, you look like hell. Seriously.
Yeah.
And I know women in particular can relate to this, but what a lot of people don't realize is you guys are incredibly hard on yourselves too. Mm-hmm. And so as I go, God, you look like hell, I start then cataloging all of the things that are wrong with my appearance. I'm like, your gray hair is coming in, you've got stripes on your neck, one of your boobs is lower than the other, you look exhausted. And then as soon as you have a negative thought or a self-criticism, it's sort of like lint in a dryer. Once you start collecting it, it just keeps on collecting it. So now I'm thinking not about how horrible I look or how tired I look. Now I start thinking about all the stuff I need to do. I start going, oh my gosh, I got up a little too late and I've got a Zoom call in 8 minutes. I don't even have a bra on yet. The dog needs to be walked. And I could feel my energy going down. Like I just felt the weight of the world on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed, uncertain. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even matter what was going on in my life at that time because I think it's a universal feeling to feel overwhelmed by your life at times.
Yes.
And so here I am, a motivational speaker.
Unmotivated.
Unmotivated, uncaffeinated, no bra on, standing there in my underwear with my dog at my feet. I don't know what came over me. But as cheesy as it sounds, I just raised my hand and gave the tired, haggard woman in the mirror a high five. Mm-hmm. And it didn't change my life like right then and there. But something shifted. Like I felt a little lighter. I felt like I wasn't alone. Mm-hmm. I felt like, okay, this moment in your life is hard, but you can do this, Mel. And I went on with my day. So the second day, I woke up, and this is when things started to really kind of churn in my mind. The first thing that I noticed was this. So I wake up, Lewis, and I make my bed. And I realized I was looking forward to that moment in the mirror where I was going to see myself. Now, look, I'm 52 years old. I will probably have a hot flash during the middle of this interview at some point. I'm a lot older than you.
Don't eat lobster.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know. I had a really allergic reaction the last time we were together. Wow. But I have spent the first 45 years of my life either criticizing the woman in the mirror or ignoring her. And this was the first time that I could remember that I was actually looking forward to seeing myself. Sort of like, when I was coming here today, you and I are very good friends. As I was walking into the building, I'm feeling excited to see you. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like I was feeling excited to see myself. Like, I'm not like, yeah, because I got a lot of crap going on in my life. But I felt a little bit like I'm about to see a friend. And so that second morning, I high-fived myself again. And again, I feel something shift. I feel just a little lightness in the mood, and I go on with my day. So the third morning, I do it again. And again, like lightness. And so I keep doing it. A couple weeks go by. And now I'm starting to feel a little bit of momentum. And I'm really enjoying it. I have no idea what the hell is going on. I haven't even done this in front of my husband, Chris, yet, because let's be honest. Standing in front of a mirror.
High-fiving yourself.
Yeah, like, come on, how pathetic does it get? You're like, is your life that bad? So I snap a photo of myself. I've got my retainer in. I got bed head. Like, I'm not looking glamorous. I did not expect this to be the photo that would ignite a movement. Mm-hmm. And within an hour, I posted on my story on Instagram. Within an hour, at least 100 people tagged me. All over the world. People high-fiving the mirror with their kids, people on a submarine high-fiving it in the military, people MMA, and I thought, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not the only one that needs a little boost in the morning. Maybe I'm not the only one who feels alone. Maybe I'm not the only one that is missing a sense of encouragement and control and confidence in an overwhelming moment in my life. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's something here. And then the messages started to come in. whoa, Mel, like I have been using this for 5 days. This woman wrote to us, Lewis. She's had body dysmorphia for 20 years. Has not been able to look at herself in the mirror. 5 days of doing this high five. And she said, I can look at myself and I even see beyond the body. I see the person. And I can grin. Wow. We had a woman who wrote to us who said that she was in a domestic violence shelter. She had escaped a very abusive relationship. She had seen me talking at our friend Jamie Kern Lima's event. She started doing the high five thing. She DMs us and she says that, you know, I have childhood trauma. I've just been in a physically abusive relationship. I've lost everything. I'm in a domestic violence shelter. What this high five in the mirror is teaching me is that I still have myself. And so that was when I said, I got to figure out what's going on. Right. And I started to unpack the research. And the research around this simple ritual, I love that you called it a ritual because I want people to habit stack this with brushing their teeth. Right. This is so life-changing. It's so simple. The science here is like, you can't believe it. And once I unpack it, you're going to be like, I can't believe how cool this thing is.
Right. So what's the science say?
Okay, so the science. Let's start with the first thing. So the first thing is that when you first try it, okay, you will not be able to raise your hand and high-five yourself and be like, you suck, Mel, or today's going to be terrible. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is that for your entire life, you have given other people high fives. So when you give a high five or you receive one, what is a high five? Just the gesture alone. What does this communicate if we do this to each other? And we high five?
Nice job, good work, you're doing amazing. Yeah, keep it up.
Yeah, I believe in you. I love you. Let's go. If you blow a shot and you got to get back in the game, a high five's like shake it off. You can win.
Yes.
And so all of that lifetime of high fiving other people and the messaging associated with it is programmed right here in your subconscious brain. Right. There's a field of study called neurobics, which is about...
Neurobics.
I know, I didn't make that up. It's interesting. Physical movement plus new neurological activity. When you marry an unexpected physical movement with new neurological activity, it's the fastest way to forge new neural pathways in your brain. Okay? We know the example, you've covered this on your show, of brushing with the wrong hand and thinking positive thoughts. And the reason why that works is because when you're brushing with the wrong hand, it's unexpected, your brain doesn't expect it, so instead of drifting off about the fact that you need to walk the dog, you have to focus, so your prefrontal cortex is engaged. You're not used to high-fiving your own reflection, so it's an unexpected physical movement that then activates all of the positive programming in your subconscious. So when you raise your hand and you high five your tired self, Lewis, what happens is all of the messaging with this, the high five, I believe in you, I love you, I celebrate you, you got this, keep going, come on. It actually fuses with your freaking reflection.
Wow.
It's impossible to criticize yourself.
Yeah.
Your brain won't allow it because it's not wired that way when you're making that motion.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
It's hard to say you suck. You don't matter at anything. It's hard to,
you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And so this lifetime of positive subconscious programming associated with high-fiving other people gets fused with your own reflection in this ritual. That's just the beginning, okay? Wow. That's just the beginning. The second thing that starts to happen that's really interesting. So, we've had a ton of people do this, obviously, around the world. Super easy idea. It's spreading around the world. We start interviewing people about what's going on, and this is what we notice. We notice that one of two things happen when you first try this. So here's how I want everybody to try it. You're going to go into the bathroom and do it before or after you brush your teeth. And that's important because I want you to make this a ritual that's part of your morning routine. And so we need to stack it with something you already do. And you're going to stand there for a minute and I want you to look at yourself. Now that right alone, most of us don't do. Look at yourself. Right. And I want you to just think about the day ahead. This is based on more research. So recent studies show from the University of Florida that if you take just a minute and you set an intention about how the day is going to go, about who you're going to be, how you're going to show up, what's the one thing that kind of matters to you to really make make progress on, if you just kind of set that intention, who am I going to be today? How am I going to show up today? Even if it's a hard day, how are you going to show up? And then you raise your hand and you seal it. research shows just setting the intention alone changes your mood. It boosts your productivity. It increases your ability to make an impact on other people. And so when you seal it with this high five, it becomes this ritual of setting an intention for the day and also silencing the critic and reprogramming the default setting about how you see yourself, whether or not you believe in yourself. And you leave that bathroom feeling like the wind is at your back. Now, when people do this for the first time, so you're going to stand there tomorrow and you're going to go, okay, Mel Robbins and Lewis, geez, I'm sitting here, brush my teeth. Okay, this is stupid. You're going to just start rejecting it. I guarantee you. This is the coolest stuff you're going to have the biggest resistance to. And so for those of you that just raise your hand and do it, you're going to immediately be like, why have I not been doing this? It feels good to be encouraged and supported.
To high five yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why have I not had my own back? Why do I stand here and criticize myself? Why do I allow this moment every single morning to be a moment where life takes over and I drift into autopilot? Why am I not taking this moment for me to build a partnership with myself?
Yeah.
The second group of people, and this is the larger group,
Right.
resist it. And this is really interesting. And the reason why you resist it, and the reason why it feels weird, is because you believe you're not worthy of support or celebration.
From yourself or from others?
Period.
Wow.
Why
Why do we think we're not worthy of celebration?
Well, for people that grew up in a chaotic, violent, or whatever household, it was your lived experience.
Yeah.
I think that for many of us, we look back on our lives and, the cognitive negative bias has us focus on the things that went wrong. And so you begin to tell yourself a story about your life that is basically a pyramid of all the things that you regret, of all the things that you wish had done over, of all the things that you don't like about yourself. And so you drag that with you into the bathroom every morning.
Yeah.
And you stare at the mirror and you see somebody that has screwed up. You see somebody who's not where you're meant to be. You see somebody who doesn't have the number on the scale or the car that you wanted or the job that you had hoped for or the relationship that you had always dreamed about. And so standing there, you believe you're not worthy of support or celebration. And it's this deep belief. We talk a lot in the personal development space of, oh, I'm not good enough. I actually think that's the polite thing that people say. I believe that people have a much more horrible way of talking to themselves.
Like what?
I can't say it on TV, but I can say it on the internet. I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm worthless. No one will ever love me. I screwed up my life. I'm a failure. I'll never amount to anything. It's too late. I'm a bad person. I think people actually say this to themselves.
Yeah. And they say it over and over again.
Yes.
Daily.
Yes. And just like ruts on a dirt road, it starts to wear in your brain and it becomes the familiar path. And so you stand in front of the mirror and, I'm telling you, raise your hand and let all that positive programming you've given to everybody else. We are amazing at celebrating everybody else. We cheer for our favorite sports teams. We buy tickets to, our favorite musicians. We throw birthday parties for people. We take on extra work for our colleagues. We help our family members out and our friends out. But when it comes to supporting ourselves, we don't know how to do it.
Right.
In fact, there's a lot of people that think it's selfish to put yourself first or that you're arrogant if you do.
Right.
I'm here to tell you it is essential to your well-being, to your fulfillment, to your happiness, all of it. So if you're feeling resistance, you're either going to feel it because you already have a deep story that you don't deserve it because of your track record, your past, because of what's happening in your life. Or you're going to feel resistance because you have been trained to believe that you only deserve that kind of stuff when you're winning. Like if I don't have that car, I don't get the high five. If I didn't get that promotion, I didn't deserve it. If I am not in a loving relationship, I don't deserve to be celebrated because I'm not actually achieving or doing the things that warrant that. I'm here to tell you, I'm on a mission to make every human being realize that if you wake up in the morning and you're breathing, and you're standing in front of that mirror, and you have survived the stuff you have survived, and you are still waking up and trying to do better, you not only deserve a high five, you need it. Because what we also know based on the research is that empowerment, support, kindness, love, celebration, it is the single most motivating force on the planet. Tough love is a bunch of baloney. What really fuels people, particularly when you're going through a challenge, is feeling celebrated, seen, and supported. And the research bears it out.
Yeah, I can think of the times when I was with on sports teams where I had great, loving, encouraging coaches. It made me want to work harder from a more energized place, an abundant energy. But when I had the coaches that would just degrade you and put you down and call you names in front of your teammates and make you feel bad, it would drive me to try to be better, but it was always like harder. And I never felt satisfied. I never felt fulfilled. I always felt like even when I accomplished something, it still wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And then I repeat that pattern. Like, okay, I'm gonna accomplish, but it's not enough to feel loved. And so let me keep accomplishing in order to feel loved, but I still don't love myself because it's not good enough.
Yeah.
So let me go for the next thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny because I have a photo on my phone that my therapist told me to do this exercise in like 8 months ago, which was a strategy for me to reclaim the love for myself. So I have a photo of my childhood self. I don't know if people can see this on YouTube.
Cute you are.
But a photo of me, this is probably when I was like 5 or 6, maybe I was 7. But something that I've tried to do and really been integrating in my life is to reconnect with the child where I felt like I stopped loving myself.
Okay, so let's talk about this right now.
Yeah.
You ready? So let me talk about this image. So let's talk about the Lewis this age, standing in front of a mirror.
Yeah. And what I do is I stand in front of myself as a child. I imagine myself, but to do it, imagine looking at the mirror as yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm trying to say is when you were this age and you stood in front of the mirror, you had a totally different relationship with yourself because you still loved yourself.
Yeah.
You still thought that you were a great kid and you wanted all the things that the adult Lewis wants.
Right.
You want to feel loved. You want to feel seen. You want to feel heard. You want to feel like you matter. And you, in seeing yourself when you were this age, felt those things for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And somewhere along the way, you lost it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to say is that when you stand in front of this mirror, exactly what Lewis is talking about, when you've got coaches that scream at you and degrade you and you know, sure, it makes you run faster, but it leaves its mark.
It does.
It leaves its mark. And so there's research. So let me talk about why this is so motivating, particularly because so many of your audience love sports, right? So they did a study where they looked at NBA teams. And what they wanted to take a look at was, does fist bumps, backpacks, and high fives make a difference in a team winning? Touch, right?
Didn't they do like a 2020 special on this or something? I
don't know, but if they did, I need to watch it.
Yeah.
But so like the power of touch, but I think it's deeper. It's the power of encouragement.
Interesting.
And so what they found is that in the study, at least in the years that they looked at, you could take a look at the teams that made it to the championships in the NBA, go all the way back to the preseason, and those were the teams that had the most number of fist bumps and back pats and high fives. Yep.
Wow.
And the same was true about the teams that were the lowest in the league at the end of the season. They had the least amount of fist bumps, high fives, and touch. Why?
So they're the least encouraging.
Correct. Those sorts of gestures build trust and partnership. I'm telling you, when you stand in front of a mirror and ignore yourself, you're like the losing NBA team.
Interesting.
Selfish, on your own, isolated. You're not in partnership with the person you're staring at in the mirror. You don't have your own back because you're ignoring yourself.
Yes.
There's another study, and this one is, I think, even more powerful. So they did this study where they wanted to know what's the most motivating thing to help somebody get through a really big challenge. The researchers divide kids into 3 groups, right? And they gave each of the groups of kids very challenging problems to work through. And they wanted to measure, okay, how resilient, how long would they work, what were their attitudes like? And then they measured it based on, well, what form of praise or support are we going to give each one of these groups? And let's see what's the most empowering.
Interesting.
First group, gets what we know to be the fixed mindset stuff. The praise was all verbal praise, and it was simply about a trait. Lewis, you are so smart. Lewis, you are a super student, praising something that is just sort of a compliment about you. Mm-hmm. The second group of students working on a challenging problem got praise based on work ethics, so something in their control. Oh, Lewis, you're working so hard. Lewis, you got such good perseverance. Lewis, you're really like just grinding away over there. Good job. Those guys did better than Lewis, you're smart. Lewis, hardworking, better. The third group, the researcher simply walked up, did not say a word, and high-fived the kid.
Really?
That's it. That's it. That group, literally, exponentially, more motivated, worked longer, worked through more challenging problems. Now, here's the big question. Why? Why would a simple high five with no verbal praise be more empowering and motivating and inspiring and develop more resilience and confidence and motivation inside somebody? And the reason why is this. A high five affirms your deepest fundamental needs. It's not just a gesture. When you high five somebody, particularly somebody who has either blown the free throw shot or is working on something difficult or going through a really hard time, when you high five them, you're saying, I see you. When you high five them during a challenge, you actually are acknowledging, I know this is hard. So the person feels heard. And because it's one-to-one, and you have to be really intentional. Like if you and I go to high five, like we have to focus on it. That was a good one.
That was good.
If you miss it, what do? You
got to do it again.
Correct. So there's an intentionality behind it, and that makes you feel like you're being affirmed as a unique individual.
Interesting.
And so all of those things are in that one gesture. Now, it goes even more. So there's even more here. So I was talking to our buddy, Dr. Daniel Amen, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of the world's leading experts on brains. He's got like 60,000 brain scans.
I think it's like 120,000.
Oh, is it at this point?
Something crazy, yeah.
So he was so excited about the high five habit. He completely geeked out. He's like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. He's like, yes, neurobics, yes, 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 yes. So he said, let me tell you what else is going on, Mel. And I'm like, really? There's more? He said, yeah. He said, you know how when you do it, you said you felt like a little kind of boost in your mood. He said, well, there are two things going on there. He said, first of all, when you cross a finish line in a race, what do you do?
Put your hands up.
Yeah. What do you do when your favorite team scores?
High five someone.
Yeah, you high five somebody. What do you do at a musical concert? Yay! What do? You're raising your hand in celebration when you high five somebody or fist bump them or put your arm around them. That raised arm gesture in a positive sense triggers your nervous system to tingle with celebration. It's the energy of celebration, even if you're going through something difficult. And even more, you get a dopamine drip when you do this. Mm-hmm. And so part of the reason why you feel this kind of shift in your mood and you feel a little bit of like, oh, okay, I can face this, I can do this, I got this, is because of the dopamine, it's because of the nervous system, and it's because of all of this positive programming associated with that gesture. Isn't that crazy?
That's powerful. It's powerful. I mean, so what does someone do, though, if they just constantly have the negative self-talk in their mind that they're no good? Do they go in front of the mirror, every 10 minutes and do this?
No.
Or is there another strategy behind the negative self-talk?
Well, okay. So first things first, definitely make this high five in the mirror a habit, okay? Mm-hmm. So start practicing it. Give it 5 to 10 days and start to see what happens. The second thing that you can do with negative self-talk, okay, is you need to start to interrupt it. Mm. So the thing about negative self-talk is that it is typically something you've engaged in since you were yay high. And in addition to it being wired into your brain, it is also something that can get triggered by your nervous system in stressful situations. And so the first step, and we can talk more about the filter in your brain and how the filter in your brain is causing you to stay stuck in a lot of this negative self-talk and how to use your mind to help you. But the first step is you got to do the awful part of getting self-aware of what the voice is saying. And the way that you do that, there's a couple techniques that you can use to create what researchers or psychologists call objectivity. You want to separate yourself from the voice.
Yep.
So you can do what Lewis is doing. He's writing down right now in a journal. You can keep just a little notebook with you, and you can kind of catalog when your attitude tanks. And what are you actually saying to yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
So should we write down all the things we're saying?
You could.
Negative about ourselves?
You can. You can. I personally do it this way. I start to notice when I feel down, or I start to notice when my energy drops. And then I tune into what I'm thinking about. And if it's negative, I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I literally notice, oh, you're sitting there thinking you're a bad person again. Oh, you're sitting there thinking that somebody's mad at you again. Oh, you're sitting there thinking that you screw everything up again. Oh, you're sitting there thinking that that nothing ever works out for you. Oh, you're sitting there thinking that you've blown it. Interesting. And then I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I go, I'm not thinking about that. That's the most basic technique to use, because what I want you to do, since this is like operating on autopilot, it's encoded right here. When you're not really thinking, this is what's running, kind of like the soundtrack of your life. When you just start to notice that you have a thought that's not helping you, you can't control that it popped up, but guess what you can do? You can smack it down.
Yeah.
And so I use the 5-second rule, which we've talked about a lot on your show. Count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The counting backwards awakens your prefrontal cortex. It gives you a moment of control. And then the way to build distance, Lewis, is say, I'm not thinking about that. And here's why. You're so used to thinking this way, I can't just say, stop thinking you're fat and start thinking that you love your body.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yes.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
So you've got to go, oh, there I am. I'm trashing the way that I look. I'm telling myself that I'm overweight. I look like shit. I'm hideous. Nobody's going to love me. Be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am not thinking about that. It's an act of defiance. See, I want you to go from these negative thought patterns to a more positive, empowering, high-five attitude. Because if you continue to live in, I'm fat, I'm unworthy, no one's going to love me, I've screwed up my life, that will be your life.
Right.
And the trick on this is, I'm not saying change your thoughts and unicorns appear. I'm saying change your thoughts so you stop the 24/7 beatdown.
Yeah.
And learn how to lift yourself up so that you can face the things that are going on in your life, and so that you can take the actions that you need to take to change your life. Because the reason why you're not changing is not because you're not capable. It's not because of the trauma or your past or anything else. It's because of the beatdown. That's why you're not changing.
Yeah, it's draining.
It's draining. It's demoralizing. It is, and by the way, if you constantly are like, I'm unlovable, I'm worthy, I'm this, I'm that, why on earth would you feel motivated, or do you think you deserve to change? If that's the thing in your mind. It doesn't work. And so pay attention. When you feel your energy go negative, be like, oh, okay, what am I, oh, whoa, that's disgusting. 5, 4, 3, I'm not thinking about that. You don't have to insert anything else. Let's just practice shutting it the hell up.
Right.
The second thing you can do is, once you kind of get good at interrupting it, I want you to name, like, let's turn it into a character. So I did this with our son Oakley when he was struggling pretty profoundly with anxiety when he was in the 5th grade. He named his anxiety Oliver. And then we asked him to describe Oliver. And Oliver was like this pimply-faced kid that, what is that, the Diary of the Wimpy Kid kind of bully-looking kid? And whenever the negative worries and stuff would come up, you could literally hear him go, Oliver, shut up. And it is the ability, what's happening when you name it and picture the person, is that you're able to detach yourself from that voice in your mind that's talking. Because that voice is typically a caregiver that either talked to you that way or talked to themselves that way, or some bully or some trauma experience or some nasty coach that beat this into your head. It's from somebody else. And so we want you to separate yourself so you can be like, oh, that's what Oliver sounds like. That's not actually how I want to talk to myself.
Right.
And so identifying it, interrupting it, and then you can get into the really incredible magic of rewiring your brain to work for you.
Yeah, I think Ethan Kross, who's a psychologist out of the University of Michigan, has a book called Chatter. which is about all the different psychological strategies for eliminating the negative self-talk and improving the quality of your mind. And he says, start coaching yourself just like you would have a great coach coaching you. Have someone like a character in your mind coaching you, celebrating you with your self-talk to help you kind of shift out of that by interrupt it, then coach yourself.
What would Lewis say to me? What would Mel say to me?
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the tricky part of this. So the tricky part of this is that I personally think most mantras are also complete garbage. And the reason why I say that is because you don't freaking believe them.
Right.
So if you think you're worthless, you're never going to be able to stand in front of a mirror and change your life by going, I'm worthy. Because your brain's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. We've been talking about this for your life. You're not worthy. You want me to show you something? So you have to interrupt it. And if you're going to try to replace it, what you need to do are two things. Number one, you have got to come up with, I should have called it pathetic mantra because it would have been easier to remember. In the book, I called it a meaningful mantra. We should just call it a pathetic mantra. You need to come up with something that's like, okay. You know, like if you're really like bad and you think you're a horrible person, like don't make your mantra, I'm amazing. Make your mantra like, I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
That's it. Like
something simple.
Yeah, you can believe that, right? You can believe, I'm trying. You know, I'm not meaning to screw up. I'm doing the best I can. Like that I believe.
Yeah.
And that's better than, boy,
I'm the best in the world right now.
Yeah, no, you're never going to believe that. Ever, ever, ever. Like, for example, if you struggle with health and weight and stuff, it's probably going to be hard for you to stand in front of a mirror and be like, I love my body, because you've been rejecting it. So instead, look at yourself in the mirror and use a meaningful mantra. I deserve to feel healthy.
Right.
And I'm going to treat myself in a way that proves it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's different. It's different because it's believable. The only other thing that will change the way that you think is behavioral activation therapy. So there's a lot of the tools in this book that are grounded as a baseline in the body of research around behavioral activation therapy, which I know you talk about all the time on the show, which is basically act like the person you want to become.
Right.
If you want to be more like Lewis, act like Lewis. Follow his morning routine. Take his advice. Interrupt the garbage, Oliver, in your head. 5, 4, 3. I'm not talking to you, Oliver. What would Lewis say to me? How would Lewis talk to Lewis? And start to act like the person you want to become, and something interesting happens. And this is why the high five works, by the way, because it is an action. You are acting like somebody who believes in and loves themselves.
Yeah.
That's why it works.
Move into motion. Don't just think only, but move and act.
So when you see yourself, you know, we always talk about positive morning routines. Let's talk about negative ones, okay? Because your negative patterns are the reason why you have horrible self-talk.
Right.
Like when I was in law school, I hated my life. My anxiety was out of control. I was out of control. I hated law school. And so my behavior actually reflected my state of mind. I would wake up hungover. I would immediately think, oh my God, I'm late. I would then reach for a cigarette and light it. Then I would run around the apartment getting dressed and trying to find everything because nothing was organized. I would then quickly drive to Dunkin' Donuts, even though I had no time, to stop for a coffee. I'd get a big old coffee with 4 sugars and 2 creams, smoking another cigarette on the way, speeding my whole way there. Then I would sit in class, be panic-stricken about being called on. Same thing again. Then I would sit at lunch, pick at a salad, gossip with friends, avoid the homework. Then I would go to the library, procrastinate forever. Then I would drive home, split a bottle of wine with my roommate, fall asleep, wake up, repeat. When you see somebody's actions, you can typically predict just how bad they're trapped in their mind.
Absolutely.
But I think we all are. I mean, I think even people that have healthy habits don't have a healthy relationship with themselves. That your self-talk is ground zero. Because how you talk to yourself, what you think about yourself when you look in the mirror, that sort of default setting in your mind, geez Louise, I mean, it makes me really sad, honestly. I gave my first speech in 2 years because of the pandemic yesterday in Salt Lake. And there was a book line. And even though everybody had masks and they were 6 feet away, you could see the pain in people's eyes, the isolation, the sadness, the overwhelm, the feeling of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I think that people are feeling way more uncertain and afraid than they're actually saying right now. That the sustained amount of change that we've been having to manage,
Yeah.
it's too much. You know, it's a lot. And if you stand in front of the mirror and you can't see somebody that's worth supporting through this, you're just going to continue to go down. Because the one person that you spend your whole life with is you.
Yes.
And this is the relationship you need to be working on. Like you want to be loved, you better learn how to love yourself. You want to feel worthy, stop looking for it out there and treat yourself like you're worthy. How do you do that? Well, by pushing through the resistance and raising your, like if you can't freaking high five your reflection,
Right.
you can't do that. How the hell are you going to make things happen in your life if you don't think you are worthy of support and celebration, particularly when life is hard?
Yeah. How you gonna believe that other people are going to do that for you as well? If you can't do it for yourself, why would other people?
Well, actually,
do that?
this is why people's relationships don't work out. Because you're looking outside yourself for the things you actually need.
For validation.
Correct. You are chasing people and seeking validation in romantic relationships. And that will end when you can stand in front of that mirror and validate yourself. When you build yourself up, when you support yourself, you show up totally differently for everybody else. When you know that you can have your own back, you're not going to be looking for the validation from your boss or your friends or all these other things. People have problems with boundaries because they can't look themselves in the eye. So how the hell are they going to look somebody else in the eye and say, actually, this doesn't work for me? I get it. You know, here's the simple truth. If you're exhausted at the end of the day, stop trying to exercise at the end of the day. It's really that simple. So I like this theory of personal development, of making things easier for yourself. And so here's the deal. If you're so exhausted after work, particularly if you're working from home, that you don't have the energy to exercise, you got two choices, people. Either you use the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you push yourself up and you get up going and you go do it anyway, even though you don't feel like it. Or you change the time of day that you exercise. That's it. That's it. Well, you can always blow it off too, but obviously you don't want to do that. So either you're going to force yourself to do it anyway, or make it easier on yourself. Do it in the morning. Do it in the morning. If you're not a morning person and you never get it done in the morning, you got two choices. Either 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push yourself to do it, or change the time that you do it. You know, one of the things that's interesting about having lived through the pandemic and how it turned everybody's lives upside down is that so many people never changed their routines. When your life changes, you've got to re-examine your routines and always look at it through the lens of, what could I do that would actually make this easier for me? Me personally, I freaking hate exercise. Hate it. I do it because I have a commitment to be active and vibrant for my entire life. I do it because my body deserves to feel good. I do it because it helps with focus. I don't like it. But, you know, anything that is worth doing also is going to require some discipline. And so you got to be able to push yourself to do the things when you're tired. You got to figure out how to make things a little bit easier. So a couple hacks for me. I exercise in the morning, period. Because I know the longer the day goes on, the more excuses are going to stack up. So I do it in the morning because it's more likely I'm going to succeed and I have less excuses in the morning. The second thing is I always try to exercise with someone else. So even during lockdown, I would pick an online yoga class and I would have a buddy meet me in it. Another thing I do, I schedule my exercise out for the whole week. So on Sunday nights, I go through all the online classes I'm going to take. I put them in my calendar. That way I'm not making a game day decision. Another thing that I do, I have a little reward afterwards. Another thing that I do, I lay out my clothes the night before. All of these are little steps that make it easier for me to fulfill on something that I don't want to do. So, Abby, you hate exercising at night because you're too tired and you're not doing it. Stop beating yourself up and either frickin' push yourself to do it,
or change the time that you do it so that you can be successful. It's really that simple. Thank you for having me. And you, I think of probably anybody on the planet will get what I'm about to say in your bones, because you understand the profound impact that the 5-second rule as a starting ritual has had on millions of people's lives, helping them move from thinking to doing. And even sitting here, Jim, with you, which it's just an honor being such a fan of your work too, to be here with you, even sitting here knowing the impact that the 5-second rule has had on millions of people's lives. I'm going to tell you something.
What's that?
The high five habit is an even bigger deal with more profound change. And I can't wait to unpack it, but I'll tell you personally, I used the 5-second rule to turn my life around, to go from being bankrupt to being extraordinarily successful, to changing every habit I have, to improving my marriage. It got me into action. But I'll tell you what it never did. It never silenced the critic in my head that I lived with. It never ended the relentless beatdown that I was giving myself. And it never broke the habit that I had of constantly hating myself or focusing on the things that weren't working instead of celebrating myself and focusing on the things that were. And the high five habit cuts right down through all that noise and reconnects you with the you that's in there, with the confidence that is your birthright. And the way that it literally reprograms your mind is breathtaking.
Well, we talk a lot about morning routines, and this was the easiest thing to add to my morning routine. That's given me so much in return, and not just in terms of in a short period of time, in terms of the ripple of it, but even just immediately, just celebrating myself in the bathroom mirror. And what we could talk about how that works. I'm also, by the way, pulling back, a big fan of just counting down from 5, getting myself out of bed or getting myself to put on my running shoes. And so I could see the difference in how they complement each other so well. And so maybe we could walk our listeners through this. And I would highly recommend everyone, our audience loves to read, to make sure you get your copy also as well.
Well, so it's very simple. And since I know that your listeners want to get right into the science and right into what to do, I'm not even going to tell you the story, because I did not set out to create this. I created the high five habit on a morning that everybody can relate to, a morning where life felt overwhelming, a morning where I felt defeated, a morning where I felt sort of stuck and dreading the day. And I was standing there brushing my teeth, Jim, and I catch my reflection in the mirror and I think, oh, you look like hell. And then all of a sudden I started to criticize the way that I looked, like the dark circles under my eyes, the bags under my kind of chin and neck, and one boob's hanging lower than the other. And then once your thoughts go negative, they kind of take you down. So now I'm thinking about my day ahead and I'm beating myself up. Why'd I get up so late? And I've only got 8 minutes to the first Zoom call and the dog hasn't even been walked. And you just said something interesting. It's an easy thing. The high five habit is an easy thing to add to the morning routine. We all talk a lot about morning routines. It wasn't until I discovered this that I realized there was a piece to my morning routine I was not even aware of. A habit that I needed to break, Jim. A habit that gratitude and exercise and all this stuff was not actually erasing. A habit of standing before the bathroom mirror and either ignoring the human being you see in the mirror or criticizing them. That is how we start our day. 91% of women don't like how they look. 50% of us can't even look in the mirror. I know it's true for men too. We stand in judgment. And so what happened for me this morning, here's the high five habit. It is profoundly simple. It's going to change your life the second you're done brushing your teeth. And I want you to do it right after you brush your teeth, because I want you to stack this habit with something you're already doing. Because because you listen to this podcast, that it's the fastest way to learn a new behavior. Let's get the gunk out of your teeth so you don't spread dragon breath on everybody. Now let's get the gunk out of your head so you're not spreading negativity throughout your day. As you stand in front of the mirror, I want you to leverage a little piece of research from Harvard. New research shows that if you take less than a minute and you intentionally think about the day ahead and how you're going to show up as a leader, it changes your productivity, your focus, how you show up, and your ability to impact people. Let's throw that out the window in terms of being a leader, and let's look in the mirror and let's use that for ourselves to improve our own lives. I want you to take a second and I want you to realize there's actually two people in the bathroom every morning, Jim. There's you and there's a human being in the mirror that's been waiting for you to wake up and realize they need you. They're trying hard. They've got a good heart. They need your support and your encouragement. They need you to see them. They need you to love them. That is literally what I'm talking about when I talk about the high five habit, that you wake up and recognize there is a person you go through life with that stares you back in the mirror every morning, and your habit right now is to tear them down or ignore them. And I want you to set an intention, and I want you to look at them in the morning. And this is going to feel weird because you're going to realize I've never actually asked myself this question. And here's the question. What is that person in the mirror? What is she or he or they? What do they need from me today? We think about it for work, for our families, for everybody else. Yeah. You've never stopped and asked yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror, how do I need to show up for that person today? Then, as you've got that intention, despite the fact that it feels weird, despite the fact that you're going to resist this, and we can talk about why you're going to feel most likely resistance, I then want you to raise your hand and I want you to high five the reflection. And what's amazing about this new habit, Jim, is your brain and your nervous system are already designed to do the work for you.
Because also, you mean, you think about how we high five other people, throughout the day.
Yep.
And to celebrate them, to encourage them, but we're not always doing that. I mean, it's interesting because no amount of love is enough to fill the yearning that our soul requires from ourselves, right? When do we work daily on being in love with that person in the mirror who has been through so much, but is still standing?
Yeah. And think about some of the habits that we know based on research change your life. Meditation. Meditation is profoundly important. The benefits you talk about all the time. Meditation develops self-awareness. It also helps you learn how to be non-reactive to your thoughts, but it doesn't change your default thoughts. Yeah. Gratitude, also hugely important, tremendous benefit. Yes, you should have a gratitude practice. However, almost all of us, when we practice gratitude, we think about things outside of ourselves that we're grateful for. And so the high five habit is about bringing the power back in-house. It's about giving you a science-backed tool that will teach you through a simple action how to support, how to love, how to encourage, how to celebrate yourself every single day. And let me explain the science, because this is where things get crazy. The reason why this works is because of the programming that's already in your brain. So you have a lifetime of giving and receiving high fives. In fact, Jim, when somebody high fives you or you high five somebody else, what does the gesture alone of a high five tell somebody else?
That they are extraordinary, they are amazing, congratulations, you're winning,
Exactly. You don't ever high five somebody and say, I hate you. You always high five and you're like, I love you. We got this. No problem. Go get them. You're going to win. Even if somebody just blew it, you high five them and it's like, shake it off. Come on. I still believe in you. Let's go. And so all of that programming is right here in the interior of your brain. It's in your basal ganglia. It is in your subconscious. It is sitting there and it is married to the action of high fiving. So what happens is when you stand there, you set this intention, you're with yourself, you see yourself, you feel the resistance, you ignore the resistance, you go to high five yourself. Your brain's like, oh, I know what this gesture means. It activates the subconscious programming. It silences the critic and the beatdown. You can't think anything but positive thoughts. It's impossible neurologically because of the programming already in your brain. And then over time, if you do this, give me just 5 days. You do this 5 days in a row, fight through the weirdness because it's new and the resistance because you have the opposite habit. You judge yourself, you reject yourself. When you high five yourself, it silences that. It activates the programming that's already in your brain and it starts to marry it with your own reflection. And that's not all. I talked to our buddy, Dr. Amen, the other day. He went bananas when he heard about this. He's like, Mel, holy cow. Do you realize you also get a boost in your mood because when you high five other people, you get a dopamine drip. So you get a dopamine drip when you do this to yourself. He also said, you know how when you come into the bathroom and you're kind of dragging in the energy and when you high five yourself, whether it's because you laugh or because you just kind of feel good, you get this little like pep in your step. So you start your day feeling slightly more energized. I'm like, yeah, Dr. Amen, tell me about that. He said, well, that's your nervous system. Your nervous system is encoded with celebratory energy. When you cross a finish line, you raise your hands. When your favorite team scores, you raise your hands. When you say hello to somebody, you raise your hands. When you hug somebody, you raise your hands. When you high five, you raise your hands. Your nervous system remembers it. That's where the energy comes from. The coolest thing about the high five habit, Jim, is the programming is already in you because you've been doing this your whole life for everybody else.
Yeah. And we are hardwired for this.
Hardwired. In fact, when you were born, DNA, in your DNA was celebration and joy. Little kids, when you see them in front of a mirror, they don't step back and go, my thighs are fat. Man, I'm a loser. They don't do that. They spin, they high five the mirror, they kiss the mirror, they love themselves. This is your birthright. It was your life experience that taught you to judge and reject yourself. And I'm here to tell you this simple habit of standing before the mirror and raising your hand and high-fiving yourself like you so willingly do for everybody else. Yeah. You don't have to say a thing. You can have resistance. You can feel that it's weird. You can literally reject it in your mind as you start to do it, and you will experience massive transformation as you complete the gesture because your mind is wired for this. You know, my husband, Jim, a lot of people know the story because it was his restaurant business failing that rocketed us into this personal crisis. And that's when I invented the 5-second rule. Well, his best friend and he worked at that restaurant business for 7 years. And at the end of the 7 years, they sold it for a song to a new investor. And our best friend, his business partner, was able to shrug and go, okay, well, that's entrepreneurship. I'm very proud of what we did. I'm proud of how hard we worked. And, you know, did we return the profit we wanted? No, but I'm still proud of myself. My husband couldn't do that. My husband said, I failed. Do you know for 7 years, he has looked in the mirror every morning, Jim, like so many of us do, and dragged his past in there and said, because this thing in my past, I am a failure. I am unworthy. I am unlovable. When I first started this high five thing in April of 2020 to pick myself up after getting fired from my dream job as a talk show host and in the throes of the pandemic and my kids in crisis and the world in crisis and just feeling overwhelmed, Chris couldn't do it. And the reason why he couldn't do it is the reason why everybody's resistant to doing it. It's because he was dragging all of that judgment and everything from his past into the bathroom every morning. And he was saying, because of that experience, I don't see a human being that's worthy of celebration. So if you've experienced trauma or abuse or discrimination, or you've been abandoned, or, you know, you're a human being and you've done things you've regretted, or you wish you could change and you'd forgive Jim or me for it, but you stand in judgment of yourself, you will resist this because right now you see a human being who doesn't deserve celebration. If you're like Jim and I, and you are very much achievement driven, you may realize as you resist this, that you don't celebrate yourself unless you've done something. unless you've worked out, unless you've got the money in the bank, unless you're driving the Range Rover, unless you fix that thing. And what I'm here to tell you is we got it all opposite, Jim.
Yeah.
You see, we've been withholding the very support and celebration that we need in order to feel inspired, encouraged, and motivated to take the actions that change our life. What's going on and how can I help you?
Okay, so I've been a small business owner about 6 years now. And then, you know, with all of the small business owner things that come with it, the overwhelming and trying to balance family, then now this COVID-19 has hit. And I have 3 children in 3 different levels of school. I have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary student. So they all have different levels of assistance. You know, my high schooler, I can kind of let her go and do what she needs to do, just check in on her.
Yep.
Middle schooler, a little bit more hands-on, elementary, more hands-on. And so take that, they're home all day. Small business is, thankfully, we haven't been hit with this COVID
What is your
thing.
small business? I'm sitting here. Let's give a shout out to your small business and tell me what it is.
So it is, we do medical billing and coding and collections for laboratories. So some of my clients are doing the COVID testing. And so thankfully billing is really up. We're very, very busy. I'm thankful for that. But there's a lot of follow through. You know, a lot of my clients are asking a lot of questions and it's very hands-on.
So can I just stop right there?
Sure.
First of all, I freaking love small business owners, particularly female small business owners. So I am super thrilled that you took the time to ask me this question so that I could help you out. Are you busier than you've ever been in your business?
Yes.
Okay. See, a lot of us don't realize this. I am busier than I have ever been right now. And that adds another layer of complexity to the overwhelm that you would normally feel running a small business and having 3 school-age kids at 3 different levels in school, requiring 3 different types of support and attention. On top of that, I understand that you are also a caregiver. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so my mother-in-law, who's 85, lives with my husband and I, or our family, and she is going through chemo. So since she lives with us, she's got a lot, and her age, she's got a lot of health complications, and I have a background in medical. I have a nursing background, so we have to primary caregiver, basically. I mean, my husband's here to help, but a lot of the dosing and medications and things like that, it kind of falls onto me as well.
Now, are you the primary breadwinner in your household?
Yes.
Okay. And is your husband currently leaving the house to work, or is he trying to work from home too?
He's trying to work from home too.
Okay. Here, are you ready?
Yeah.
This is a pivotal moment in your marriage and in your business.
Yeah.
You want to know why? You have an extraordinary opportunity to grow your business right now.
Right.
And you have more business than you can probably even service at the moment.
Yeah, and I have a lot of clients coming to me that I've had to put on the back burner because I just can't.
We don't want to. Yes, you can, because here's what we're going to do. You ready? This is a moment where you sit down with your husband, because you two are in a partnership in your relationship, and you now need his support in order to go and take this business to the next level. And here is what I want you to do. I want you to sit down today and to quantify all of this business that you're putting on the back burner. And if you were able to bring that business in, how much more money would it bring into the business? And if you were to able to free yourself up for 10 hours more every week to not only deal with bringing in that business, but also reaching out and marketing and hiring another person or two to bring into your business to help, how much more could you then add with just 10 hours of your time freed up? You see, I am a wildly successful businesswoman. And one of the reasons why I am wildly successful is because my husband and I had this conversation in our marriage 5 years ago. And my business started to go like this. And I thought, holy cow, if I can free up 10 hours a week of my time, and if my husband sees the opportunity and he feels invested in supporting our family dynamic shifting and in supporting me extracting myself, which is not easy, from a lot of the primary care duties of the kids and of the household running and of, taking care of your mother-in-law, those 10 hours translate into tens of thousands of dollars for our family.
Right.
And it's in this moment of time where if you step up and you invest time and maybe a few more people at this problem, which is so much business and no time and bandwidth to address it. I actually feel this right now in the virtual training business. We have so many companies coming to us right now about virtual trainings and asking about the offerings that I got to carve out 10 hours that I'm telling you to find to package it up so people know what they could possibly buy. And so the key part, though, is you can't do this on your own. And you can't do this hoping that he recognizes that you're working harder, because what happens is our spouses can't read our minds. Right. Our spouses want to support us. Our spouses also are in a model right now where you guys share time, you share resources, you share things, and you're basically saying, I want your help going up, which means I got to go down in terms of how much I'm contributing here.
Right.
And getting him on board is critical because of two reasons. Number one, you need 10 hours a week. How much extra money do you think you could make if you got 10 hours back every week?
Oh, I could probably do 10 times the amount of income.
10 times?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, I literally, and so a lot of it is I consult with a lot of my clients and then we onboard them to do their billing. But a lot of the consulting is where I just don't have time. And part of my question is I try to compartmentalize my day. Like, okay, from here, from 8 in the morning to 2 p.m. I'm working. And then from 2 to 5, I'm helping my kids. And then 5 to 10, I'm going back to work. So, and I'm not able to do it all. I'm not able to consult with them. And I just keep telling them, give me a few more weeks.
Correct. No, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to your husband and say exactly what you said to me. I have a chance to 10X my business. And that means we have a chance to 10X what happens for our family.
Right.
And here's what I need for you specifically. From 2 to 5, you've got to be with the kids. Because I need to be on the phone with clients, and I need to also start to, if it means freelancers or however you scale the business, and I would recommend freelancers because, this is a moment in time, but I think this type of billing is going to happen for a long time.
Right.
And the expertise that you're gaining is going to make your consulting price go up, up, up. But you need to enroll him in taking the 2 to 5.
Okay.
That's what has to happen. The second thing the two of you need to do is on Sunday nights, make sure that you preview the whole week.
Okay.
So that if there is a particular conference call that is important, or if your mom needs to go somewhere for chemo, that you've figured out how to cover each other.
Okay.
And you've talked about it in advance, because what ends up happening too, especially because your attention is going to start to go like this in your business, because this is a huge moment of potential growth for you.
Right.
And your family deserves to have that happen. You deserve to have that happen. Your attention is going to really get pulled into this business. So to minimize the sniping that happens between spouses and the resentment that starts to get built up, both from him, because he's now suddenly feeling like he's getting pulled in every direction, something that women have felt forever. But again, I'm just speaking from my own experience in my own marriage.
Yeah.
That it's one thing to say, yeah, I'll help. It's the other thing to be pulling yourself away from work at 2:00 and dealing with the kids. And the reason why you need his buy-in is because it helps with that resentment that starts to build quietly between spouses. Talking on Sunday nights and previewing it allows him to be heard and allows him to request what he needs in case something's important coming up for work.
Okay.
And it allows the two of you to handle logistics and stay aligned instead of barking about it during the week. But I got a conference call, but you said you were doing this, but oh, it's Wednesday? I thought today was Tuesday. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What concerns do you have?
I think that was the main thing is I feel like I have so much writing and I just don't, if I was compartmentalizing it, things like that. I do talk to my husband and say, look, I need to get on this conference call, and my office is here at my house. And so it's like, I need you to keep the kids away. I need you to keep them outside. I don't need the kids running in here because, they often do that.
Well, one thing I want to tell you, nobody's going to penalize you in this moment of time if they hear kids in the background.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, I also enroll my kids. So I did a huge 2-hour training for a massive pharmaceutical company on Friday for Novartis. Uh-huh. And I told my family, I've got this amazing opportunity. You people need to be out of this house for those 2 hours. And they were. And the day before, I text everybody in our family group text. And I say, hey guys, tomorrow is the thing. I'm working really hard. I just want to tell you, I appreciate you. You can do those kinds of things because then your kids feel like they're part of your success. Okay. So first get your husband on board. Then the two of you at family dinner say something really exciting's going on. Mom's business is exploding. And so I'm going to take the 2 to 5 shift. And you can be like, everybody, this is so cool. Thank you for your support. Thank you for putting up with me when I go like, you can't believe like the business is growing.
Yeah.
Do you know what this means for us? And so you enroll them in your success, which also helps. Now, does that take care of the shit that comes up? No, of course not. But it is through the acknowledgement and the constant little bits of communication about what you need. And what you need is you need a runway from 8:00 in the morning till 5:00 at night, because that's when your clients need you.
Yep.
And then you can tell your husband, hey, at 5:00, I'll take over. No problem. And you can go back to work.
Yeah.
But that's how you're going to have to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I love it. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Compartmentalizing doesn't work.
Okay.
When you have more work than you have time to do it in. So if you think about this is a vessel, right? And okay, let me see if I can let's see if I can do show and tell with Mel. Okay, so this vase is a vessel. This is a vessel. This is a vessel. Oh, here's another candle. This is a vessel. So if this is your business and it's going to bloom, you got all kinds of amazingness happening over here. And let me see if I can hold this, do this. And this right here is family, right? And all the time and energy you got to pour into that. And this right here is your mother-in-law that needs you. This right here is you and me, because we get burnt out because we come last. See how it's got the burn ring around the top? Yeah. You could pour all of your time into just this. And you still need to reserve a little bit for your family, for your mother-in-law, and for you.
Yeah.
And right now, this is your business and you're not pouring enough time into this. And at some point, when the growth levels out, your business and your family start to look a little bit more like the same size.
Okay.
But in order for this business to bloom, you got to pour more time here. You got to also make sure you find time for yourself, whether that's a bath at night or get up a little bit earlier in the morning so you have a chance to take a walk or to meditate, journal, or just plan your day before the craziness starts. Time for your family, time for your mother-in-law.
Okay.
You can figure it out, but your husband needs to basically take this cup off the table for a little bit.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I think he will too when he understands 10X, baby. There you go. We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this. We've been praying for this. And him feeling like he's part of that success makes it easier to get him to do what you need.
Okay, perfect.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Will you let me know how it goes? And if he is anything less than fucking thrilled, you get him back on a video with me and you, and we will have a talk. Okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
Bring my husband. We'll have a double date, and we'll talk about what happens when a man empowers his wife as the breadwinner.
Yeah, sounds good.
Amazingness. Okay, good. Super proud of you. Go get him.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So tell everybody your project, and then let's talk about the thing that you're still kind of stuck or struggling with.
So the project is to be aware, to understand, and to know myself as a teacher. And the thing that I'm stuck on, I was sitting there thinking about it, the thing that I'm stuck on is that I have a bazillion ideas about things that I can create and do, and courses and trainings and la-di-da-di-da.
Who can relate?
And so actually moving from the idea and even creating the whole curriculum and all of that to actually making it happen.
Yeah.
And doing it.
So I have a cool strategy that I use, and I hope it works for you. So I carry a little notebook, and I actually borrowed this from Chris, because when we lived in New York City, he used to carry around a notebook like this size, and whenever he had an idea, he'd just jot it down, then he'd stick it in his back pocket, and it was just full of all kinds of stuff. So I carry around a notebook, and this one's new, so it doesn't really have much in it. As ideas come, I just jot it down in that notebook. And then what happens for me is I get anxiety because I'm afraid that I'm going to forget the idea. Then that anxiety makes me get distracted and unfocused and overwhelmed. And so I think if you were to have a little notebook on you at all times, and when those creative juices and those impulses go, that you jot them down, that's going to remove one layer of the overwhelm. Okay? The next thing I would do, what are the top 3 things in terms of all this creative stuff that you're interested in doing? What's the top 3 projects that inspire you the most?
Story, really getting people's story,
and
getting into the story and understanding how what we've created, what we've had, what those stories are, and what we can do with them to make our lives work, and what is working, because there's lots and lots and lots of attention on what's up.
Yes.
But there's so much that's working.
Yes. So
I mean, even the question that you're asking us, like, what happened to you?
Yes.
That has you break down?
Yes.
What happened to us that has us be in this room?
I thought you were inspired, right? Yeah, that's the good thing, right?
Yeah.
So do you see how you light up when you talk about that? So to me, it's very clear that your energy is about focusing on what's good and what is working, and elevation and amplification. I mean, even in the way that you dress, when I talk about shaking and the essence, the vibrancy of you. And so I think all that's missing is the right vehicle for expressing that. I want you to pick one thing that you're going to do, whether it's writing a book or blogging every week and starting to archive all of these things and amplifying your own voice on this topic. What do you see?
Good stuff.
Of course, right? Yeah. So what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, thanks to somebody whose name I can't remember right now, but who I know is here, who I saw on their page, 750 words, I started writing again.
Fabulous.
And so I'm writing every day, and I'm on like a 21-day streak or something like that.
Wow.
And from that, that's how Sacred Musings, which is a series of writings that I've done, was born, was from the 750 Words Project.
Wow.
So it's coming again. And it's, yeah.
See, to me, you are the voice. The project isn't about anything or anyone else.
Right.
It's about your voice.
Right.
And so I also want you to consider that as long as you are doing something to express your voice in some small way every day, that is the path. And all of the other stuff, you're getting distracted by the how and the what it looks like. And I want you to join me in that journey of embracing that you're actually an artist and you're a writer and you are somebody that's out in the world expressing your ideas in a multitude of ways. So this is a question from Vicky. Vicky writes, I'm trying to become a fashion and beauty blogger and earn money from it full time, but I have some kind of mental block and procrastination problem when it comes to actually pushing myself to do anything related to that goal. This is something that we hear about all the time, that you have this huge goal, yet you cannot seem to push through the mental block, that you have something that you want to do full time, but you can't seem to beat procrastination. This is something that we see over and over and over again. And it's this idea that you don't ever start. You stay trapped in your head. And if you feel paralyzed, if you've been spinning the same ideas over and over and over again, then you know what I'm talking about. You see, many of you are thinking way too fucking big. You're attaching way too much pressure on the things that you're interested in. Until you start blogging about fashion, you won't even know if you like it. So thinking that you have a dream about doing it and thinking that you have this grand plan that you're going to do it full time, it is a complete and utter waste of your time to be dreaming that big. And let me tell you why. Because oftentimes, if you're the kind of person like Vicky that's getting trapped up here, the bigness of what you're thinking about is what's stopping you. What I want you to do if you're in Vicky's situation is I want you to stop dreaming and I want you to just start doing small things. I want you to go back to curiosity and less into crushing your big goals. The thing about life and business and success is that you have to be willing to start. And for people that procrastinate, starting is the hardest part. For people that worry, for people that think too big, starting is the hardest part. Folks that study procrastination talk about the fact that the only way to beat procrastination is to create what they call a starting ritual, which is a way to push yourself to get started. Because all the research shows that if we can push you to get started on something, you'll likely keep going. So, Vicky, the only way to get out of the mental trap is to stop fucking thinking and actually start doing it. And maybe thinking that this is going to be your full-time employment, that's the wrong way to go about it. I want you to literally just commit to writing some sort of blog about fashion every day for a fucking week. That's it. Don't think about full-time. Don't think about the bigness of it. Actually start doing it. You may discover you don't like it, for crying out loud, but you're never, ever, ever going to advance if you continue up here. How do you force yourself to do it? Well, you can use the 5-second rule for that. You can wake up in the morning and say, today I'm committing to making small progress on this thing I'm curious about, which is fashion blogging. You can find time when you're going to sit down, and then the second that it's time to do it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start writing. Here's what you can expect to experience if you're somebody like Vicky who has trouble getting out of the thinking loop. The second that it's time to actually move from thought to action, you will become a first-class asshole. You will feel resistance. You will struggle with what you're going to write. You will start to feel like it needs to be perfect. You're going to come up with excuses. You're going to talk yourself out of it. Why? Well, because you're used to thinking, and now you're asking yourself to do. Why am I explaining what you should expect? The reason why I'm explaining what you should expect is because it's normal to feel those things. It's normal to feel scared. It's normal to feel like you don't want to do it. It's normal to think about doing it perfect. Letting those things stop you is a choice. So, let me recap. If you're the kind of person like Vicky that's got all these big ass dreams, but you can't get out of your thinking loops, you can't stop procrastinating, you can't stop thinking about it, you get overwhelmed and so you do nothing, the only solution is micro action. That's it. I don't want to hear shit about your big goals. In fact, for everybody out there, I don't want to hear shit about your dreams and your goals until you're actually taking the actions every day for a couple weeks straight. You don't get to talk about your dreams until you can prove that you wake up and every single damn day you push yourself to take one small action forward. If you can do that consistently for a month, then you can start talking about your dreams. Then you can start talking about how you make money at it. Then you can start talking about how you build skill around it. But until you can actually get your ass out of bed and make the commitment to yourself to do the actions required to become a blogger, or to be a blogger, not become, to be a blogger, to be somebody that's in the restaurant business, you're just all talk. That's all I got to say on this. We all procrastinate. We avoid the things that we know that we need to do, and then we spend the rest of the day beating ourselves up. It's amazing. Actually, it sucks, doesn't it? So how do you stop procrastinating? Oh, simple. Just nail yourself to a chair. That's what you do. You tell yourself no booze until you get it done. That works. No, it doesn't. The reason why these things don't work is because most of us don't even understand what procrastination is. I know I certainly didn't. The reason why you procrastinate is not why you think. Procrastination has nothing to do with work. Procrastination is a stress reliever. That's right. It's a tool that you use to give yourself relief from stress that you feel. And the stress that you may be feeling right now might be stressed about money. You might be stressed about your health. Maybe you're stressed about something going on at work or about a relationship that you're in. And the way that this relates to procrastination is you're stressed out, you got work you know you need to do, but instead of doing it, you go online or you watch the highlights of last night's game or you waste an hour looking at Facebook. And when you do that, when you avoid work, it makes you feel good, but just for a minute. See, this is where we get procrastination all wrong. A lot of people think procrastination is about willpower, or it means that you're lazy. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about your stress. That's why your work ethic or discipline, that's not going to solve this either. The key to stopping procrastination, number one, is understanding what it is. It's a way that you deal with stress. And number two, it's about 5-second decisions that stop the cycle of procrastinating. Because when you change your decisions, you're going to change everything. And here's how you're going to use the 5-second rule to do it. When you catch yourself procrastinating, or you feel yourself starting to avoid what you need to do, use the rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, activate your prefrontal cortex, and then acknowledge. Acknowledge that you feel stressed out. That's the first piece. Then you're going to use the 5-second rule to just get started. That's it, for 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Force yourself. I'm stressed out. I get it, but I'm going to work for 5 minutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sit down and get started. After you've worked for 5 minutes, give yourself a break. Watch all the cat videos you want. I don't really care. The point here is that this is a way that you can use the 5-second rule in combination with research about beating procrastination that puts you in control of your decisions. Stacy found that when she used the 5-second rule to improve her relationship with herself, there was an amazing result. She stopped procrastinating. In her words, your rule has helped me grow in ways I never thought possible. I no longer procrastinate on anything. And the same is going to be true for you. Because when you understand that procrastination is something that you do when you're stressed, and you also understand that the secret to beating procrastination, which is a habit, is to just get started, now you can use the 5-second rule to leverage all the research that will help you end the habit of procrastinating once and for all. To learn more about the science behind why this works, why just getting started is the key, and all of the science behind it, I want you to read chapter 11 of the 5-second rule book. And it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and at your local bookstore.
Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed that video, by God, please subscribe because I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. We've got so much amazing stuff coming. Thank you so much for sending this stuff to your friends and your family. I love you. We create these videos for you. So make sure you subscribe. Mwah.